Welcome to Flash CS4. In this lesson, we're going to dive into the authoring tool, learning the interface, the tools, the features available to us as we work inside of Flash. After you launch Flash, the first thing you'll see is the welcome screen. On the left, we see the list of the most recent documents that we have worked on. Here we see a list of FLAs. FLA is the source file format inside of Flash. You may also sometimes see files of other types in here, such as .as or .jsfl. In the center column, we have the option to create new documents. The topmost item, Flash file, ActionScript 3.0, is what we'll be working with today. You can also create legacy ActionScript versions of your Flash file, ActionScript 2. You can create Flash files for Adobe Air or for mobile. You can also create ActionScript files, ActionScript communication files, JavaScript files, and a Flash project. On the right, you will see any templates that you have installed. So you can create immediately from a template, such as here we see the advertising template. And you can extend Flash by visiting the Flash Exchange, which is a website hosted by Adobe where you can download components or extensions for Flash that allow you to do different things more rapidly than coding or building them yourself. So to get started going through the interface, we will create a new Flash file, ActionScript 3, this topmost button here. Now as we begin our exploration of the interface, I have my layout set to Classic. In order to have your layout match mine, you can set your workspace to Classic by selecting this button up here and selecting Classic from the list of options. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to familiarize yourself with in the CS4 standard interface is the behavior of the panels. The panels are the items we see here listed on the right. And actually, these are only some of the panels that are available in Flash. They're the ones that are visible by default in the classic layout. So, for example, we have the color panel and the swatches panel. If I click these icons, you'll see that the panel appears. And the color and swatches panels are grouped together in the panel group, so they're tabbed together when visible, and they appear in the same block in the icon form. Now when the panels appear like this, just clicking away from the panel will automatically hide the panel. But sometimes you want your panels to be persistent or visible for longer than just a quick second. So in Flash CS4, all of these panel sets have a bar at the top with double arrows. And if you click that bar, then you'll see the panels expand, and they're still resizable. You can adjust them. But now you'll see clicking away doesn't make them hide. They're now persistently visible. Similarly, the Properties panel, which is persistent by default in the classic layout, I can reset to that button preview just by clicking that top bar. Now you'll notice that button preview is also resizable, so you can trim it down so you only see the icon, or you can extend it out so that you also see the name of the panel that clicking on that button would reveal. You can easily move around these panels, right? So let's say I wanted to group transform with swatches for some reason. So I'll click on the transform tab and drag it up to swatches. Or if I want to transform to live on its own, I could simply drag it out away from the existing panel group. And now transform is in its own panel group. If I click again the double bar, I'll see only the quick view icon. All of the panels are toggleable, that is, viewable and hideable under the Window menu. So every single panel that exists in Flash you can access through here. So if I wanted to access the Align panel, I could select Window Align. Right? Or if I wanted to view the Components panel, which isn't visible by default in this layout, I could select Window Components, and now the Components panel is visible. It's not grouped anywhere, it's not docked anywhere, so I can drag that panel. And now it is part of my interface. Once you have the panels the way that you want them, you can save the layout. You can save multiple layouts quite easily. Just click that button again, that layout button, and select new workspace, and it'll give you the option. Put in a name and save the workspace that you've created, and then that option will appear in that menu. Because I don't really like this layout, I'm not going to save this. I'll select cancel, and then click that button again and select reset classic, just to bring things back in order. One of the first things I like to do when I get into any new application is just examine what preferences exist. To view the preferences in Flash, we'll select Flash Preferences, and that would be Edit Preferences on Windows, one of the very few differences between Flash on Windows and Flash on the Macintosh. Now, we're not going to step through all of these preferences right now. I just wanted to point out that they exist here. So, for example, under the general preferences, we can set what to do when we launch Flash. So the welcome screen that we went through is selected now, but I could just say no document or new document. So it would always create a new document when I launched Flash. I have my undo preferences. I have a series of preferences about Flash, including what colors to use for drawing objects and groups and symbols and so forth. And we also have other categories of preference, and there's clipboard options and drawing options and so forth. So I would really encourage you to go through this preferences panel when you have a moment and just examine what options do exist. Click cancel, return back to Flash. Now the main area that we work in Flash is this area right here, is in this window. Now this window is broken in itself into two areas. So what is currently white, but not always, that's a setting in this document. What is currently white in this view is what's known as our stage. And the stage is what appears visible to the user. So this is, again, the source. We're creating a Flash movie. Whatever is contained within the stage is the part of that movie that, when published and viewed by another human being, would be visible. The part that's gray, and that doesn't change, that's not a document setting, that's just a Flash thing. This part that's gray is what's known as the work area. So we can work here, we can place content here. So for example, if we wanted to animate a ball falling from above our movie down into the movie, we could start the ball above in this gray work area and then have it animate in. That's the work area because we can work in it, but again, nothing there will be visible to the user. Only what is in the stage is visible to our user. Each document, each FLA that we work with in Flash has a series of properties. By default, with nothing selected, this black arrow tool selected, but nothing in our document selected, we will see our document properties here in the properties panel. What is the frame rate? So we have a 12 frame per second document. The stage size is 550 pixels wide by 400 pixels tall, and the color is white. Now we can edit those document settings a few different ways. We can just click edit right there, but let me cancel out. We could also select modify document or click Command J, and we get the same dialog. So if we wanted to set our stage dimensions to, for example, 400 pixels by 200 pixels, and our background color to green, right, then I can click OK. And now we have changed the settings of this document. So we made use just now of the Properties panel. This Properties panel is probably the most important panel inside of Flash. And the reason it's so important is because it is context sensitive. That means based on whatever is selected inside of Flash, this Properties panel has different options. So everything in Flash has options. And when I say thing, I really do intend to be that broad, because we could have a shape selected on our stage, we could have a keyframe selected on our timeline, or we could have a tool selected in our tools palette. All of these different things have options, and those options will appear inside of the Properties panel. And again, like we just saw, when nothing is selected in our document except for the selection tool, and nothing on our stage is selected, nothing on our timeline is selected, we will see our document properties.